Hi everybody, I'm Spike Brave, and today I'd like to give you a look at the River City and River City Night maps in Mechwarrior Online. Now, if you've played the game a little bit, you might recognize this as the River City Night map. The maps are identical as far as layout. The buildings and capture points and everything and start points are in the same locations. But in River City Night, of course, it's nighttime, so it's dark. I wanted to start out in River City Night to show you guys a couple things that are important to know about the vision modes that are used in MechWarrior Online. First of all, let's start off talking about infrared or heat vision. So if I hit H, I get a thermographic view of the battlefield. Can help with finding things at night because it's dark. The mechs will show up. Let me see if I can find one. As you can see, he's kind of a lighter gray because he's hot. That's an awesome out there. So that's important. And then if we switch over to night vision mode, by hitting N, you can see it helps out with being able to see, much like a starlight scope or a similar light amplification technology in the real world. So that's been a look at these two different vision modes. Something that's important to know about these vision modes is if you're using night vision on this map and someone's far away, let's say they're hiding in those buildings, maybe advantageous to turn off night vision. You can actually see, I can see a little bit further and I can see the dark shadows of the mechs now moving. So keep that in mind. A lot of players are concerned that people are using aimbots on this map, especially in the night mode, because they'll be over in these buildings and taking PPC, very accurate PPC fire or Gauss rifle fire or something else that's long range. Really, what the opposing player has probably done is turned off their night vision. They can see you easier. So keep that in mind. That if I had somebody up here, they'd be very easy to see. But if I turned it on the night vision again, it's black. I can't see them anymore. So keep that in mind. And then the other really important thing to know about these vision modes is I'm going to back off from this building and I'm going to artillery strike it. When you're in these alternate vision modes, it's very hard to see the smoke from an artillery strike. So I'm going to back off a little bit so I don't hit myself. And then what we'll do is turn off night vision and I'll engage the strike. And you may see the red smoke.
Artillery strike activated.
So that's easier to see it. But if we turn on our night vision, it's kind of hard to see. If you really look and you can see the smoke there. But a lot of times what will happen is players are very focused on fighting the enemy and they won't notice that smoke because it is quite a bit harder to see in these alternate vision modes. I have a lot of good success with artillery strikes on this map and for the city map that also uses our alternative vision modes. Dropping artillery strike on enemy formation, they don't notice that smoke and they get hit. So keep that in mind if you're in one of those vision modes. The smoke's hard to see, so you may want to keep moving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out of here real quick. So we'll quit the match, and I'll take you back to the mech lab, and I'll show you this map in the day mode because it's a little bit easier to see things. So we just come to testing grounds, click on that, and then we'll select River City and click OK. This is a really important feature. You can pick any map that you'd like, run around in it, see what it's like, and also you can test your mech's weapons. You can fire them, you can mess with your weapons groups, you can see how much heat you're generating on different maps rather than getting into a live match and then accidentally shooting somebody because you decided to test your weapons right as they walk in front of you. So keep that in mind. I really like this testing grounds mode. Use it to your advantage. So let's start talking about this map and how it's used in solo play. Let's start off by talking about our mini map. In the center of the screen there, you can see I have a little grid. I'm in D2. That Atlas that I was looking at, or not Atlas, but Awesome I was looking at earlier is kind of in E3, maybe D3 on that line. And that's a great way to tell your teammates where something is. Use that to your advantage. If you see somebody, hey, they're in E2, look out, they're sniping. There's an enemy mech with ECM, and he's got buddies with him, and he's in C2, look out, we can't see him on our radars. So that's really important stuff to know, and if you want to see the whole battlefield, just hit B, and that brings up the grid with the whole map on it. Now you can see I'm that yellow,
Artillery strike online.
or perhaps tan triangle in D2. If I was detecting a mech, he'd also be on the battle grid, and if I was playing an actual match and had friendly units, they'd be shown on the battle grid, and any enemy mechs they've detected would also be shown. So this is a great way to get some reconnaissance if you're running around in the light, doing some capping maybe, and you need to know where things are. Hit that B key and you can see the whole battle grid. So this is a great way to communicate with your teammates, but let's talk about some of the things that players in solo play do in this map and the locations that are important in solo play, and some of the names that they use. So first of all, let's go over here. Behind this truck here will be a base if you're in assault mode, or a capture point if you're playing conquest mode. Not really called by a name. They'll just say they're at our base, your base, their base, whoever's base it is, to let you know that something's in here. And be aware that if this is an assault map, there will be turrets hidden on top of the building sometimes. So keep an eye if you're running through here during assault, look up, because some of those turrets will be on top of things. So that's important to know. So let's go and show you a point of interest. That behind this boat, there's actually quite a bit of space before you go out of bounds. Some mechs will come back here to hide, to shoot LRMs or snipe. Because if we come over here to the edge of the boat and stop, see we have
Target acquired.
that awesome there. But some players like to step out and then snipe into this area and then step back, or launch their LRMs from right behind here and use that for some cover. So there's that. And let's talk about probably the biggest feature in the map right now, the Citadel. You see this large spire here in the center of this group of buildings. Players usually call this the Citadel or the castle sometimes. And let's go up on this ramp here, and we'll see that this ramp cuts through these buildings, comes down on either side here, and also wraps around the front of the building. Currently, let's go look at the other location a base spawns, and that's right down in here. So the other base is right in here. Let's see if I can find it without actually having it here. It's right around in here somewhere. I believe it is right here. So the other base in conquest mode will be right here. So generally what will happen is players will run to this Citadel for cover from either side, and then try to use the base turrets to shoot enemies who get too aggressive and come over. So currently what will happen on this map is that you'll end up with a big camp fest right here in the center as everybody's using this large Citadel for cover from either side. Now something that I like to do, if I start over here, is come at the Citadel from this side, and then I'll jump up on top. And let's see if I can get that going on.
Fuel at 25%.
Alrighty, so now I'm in a good spot to actually see, do we have enemies in here that are hiding and sniping. And generally what will happen is the team that has the base that's in B4-ish will cluster in B4 and C4. So what I'll do is I'll come over here and jump, and get on this second section of building, and then I'll pop my UAV like so.
UAV activated.
Now this UAV has a great view of C4, D4, D3, and C3, and that's generally where the fighting occurs. So keep that in mind. It may be worth your while to jump up here and pop a UAV real quick and help out your team with some spotting assists. So that's been a look at the Citadel portion of the map, and then once you get in here, it's just some buildings. Some good cover in here, and again, this is where some turrets will spawn, and they may be on top of stuff, so keep that in mind. If this is not your base and you're fighting in it, look up, you might see some turrets. This is sometimes referred to as Lower City. That's not as common anymore, but occasionally you'll see somebody say, hey, they're in Lower City, that means they're in this general location. And we discussed the base spawn, so let's talk about the capture point spawn. That happens in the corner here of E5. So if you're playing Conquest, the capture point
UAV deactivated.
won't be up in here, it'll be actually here in the water, right on the edge of the shore here. It's right about here. There'll be a capture point, so keep that in mind. There's a capture point there. And then rather than run through Lower City, what I'm going to do is come up here on the side. There's enough room before out of bounds that you can actually maneuver through here, so keep that in mind. That can actually work to your advantage sometimes. And then the next important spot is this parking garage. Sometimes you'll hear it called that, but not usually. This one usually isn't called by a name. But if we come up top here, on this structure. There's a drop ship. This drop ship can be used to your advantage in play. If you're taking LRM fire, get under this wing. It does provide some good cover here from LRMs or an artillery strike, because the artillery strike would hit the top of the drop ship and not you if you were standing here. So that's a good location. And the capture point is right here. So if you're playing Conquest, there'll be a capture point right here. It's kind of exposed, so keep that in mind, but if you need to, run over to these wings to help you out. You will see some fighting up here. There is a spawn point for one team in skirmish that's right here, and then a spawn point for the other team, which is right by the dropship. So sometimes the fast mechs that spawn here will drive up into here in the hopes of catching a slow mech by itself. Something else to know about this particular location is that it is high up. It's a good platform. You see a lot of people that use these structures here for cover and snipe out into this area. But there's also a parking garage in here. So if you saw the little bridges here earlier, you can see this tunnel cuts through the center of the building, so let's drop in there. And you're a little exposed here, a little bit of cover from those bridges, but once you get into this main parking garage-like structure, solid ceiling, so good place to come get some cover. If you're playing Conquest in the light, you're the last guy up, and you're about to win on points, you might want to run in here and hide. It's not the best spot in the world to do so, but if they're not looking in here, you're safe from all their fire, and if they do come in, they can only come in from the sides here, so if they come in from one side, you can run out the other side real quick. But that being said, if they come in from both sides, you're kind of stuck in the center here. If you're light, you can no longer maneuver because this is a very narrow area, so they'll probably pick you apart. But just want to make people aware that this was down here, and then it comes up on the other side. And then we'll head to the next point of interest. As you can see, there's a river that cuts through the center of the map, so hence the name River City. And then up here, sometimes you'll still see this called Upper City. That's from earlier when in the game's beta and closed beta. This was an important area to come up here, get control of this area and use it to snipe. There's some good cover in these buildings. And then right next to this little garage here, there'll be a capture point right here, so that's important in Conquest. You don't see a lot of fighting in this area anymore. Originally, the one enemy base was on top of the parking garage, not down in Lower City. So when that was a base, you saw a lot of fighting over control of this area. Not so common anymore, but if there's a battle over Kappa, it will occur in this area, so there's some good buildings for cover. And that's going to look at this particular area. Then we'll come down here. There's this broken bridge right here, and if you're say you were trying to capture Kappa and we're taking some LRMs, this is a good spot to come run and get some cover. And if you're in a stout mech like my Jenner that's kind of constructed lower, you can actually get right here. This can actually be a good hiding spot if you shut down right here. A lot of people won't notice that you're behind this pillar because they're too busy looking for your target indicator or looking for your actual movement. You're running, they're trying to find you. So this can be an okay spot. You can see out pretty well. So that's been a look at that particular little hidey hole. And then we'll go back to where we started through this area. And again, just some buildings to hide in. Definitely not a place name. And then the last thing that's really important on this map is in the river here, right by this bridge that cuts across the center. Right here, I believe, will be a capture point. So if you're playing Conquest, this is the capture point. I would caution you to be very careful when you're taking this capture point. It is extremely exposed. There's not a lot of cover nearby to the capture point that you can use other than the actual point itself. So keep that in mind if you're trying to capture this point, that you may need to abandon it quickly because you're taking fire. Another important spot in this map is this little bridge here on the side of the citadel. It does come out over the water here. So if you decide to try to capture Theta and you start taking some LRM fire, you can come under here for some cover. if you notice a little jump in the video right now, it's because they did a hot fix as I was just finishing up this video. So as I was saying, this provides some great cover from LRMs. So up top, we're protected from those LRMs. But if they do have direct fire weapons, they can still shoot you through these in between these struts here. So keep that in mind if you're using that for cover. If you've got somebody out in the river, that they can still shoot you with their direct fire weapons. Well, this has been a look at the River City map. Again, I apologize for that little hiccup towards the end there. As I said, they did a hot fix, and as you can tell, I was about 30 seconds away from being done with this video. So rather than refilm it, I just did a quick little edit in there. So sorry about the hiccup. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it's taught you a little bit about this map and some of the things that happen in solo play. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing other videos like this to help out the new players and the solo players. I hope you have great luck on the battlefield, and I hope to see you there. Thanks a lot.